Hello, my name is Carmen. Thank you for joining me for this first Seed Song Guide pilot workshop. So what we'll be doing today is going through ideas that I'm developing to write a little song, guide to how to write songs using this idea of seed songs as the start. So I'll talk for a bit, might do some demonstrations at some point, show some examples, but I'll also leave room for you to pause the video. I want you to pause it and try some things out and then start it again when you're ready to move on. The whole thing should take somewhere around 35 minutes. So we're ready to go. So seed songs. This is a process that I used when I was writing my album called Seed Songs. And it was just to generate ideas. It wasn't to write a complete song. It was to make the start of a song. So let's use the analogy of a seed. So think of a seed, like a plant seed. It's not the final plant, but it has all the elements needed for the plant to grow. It has such amazing potential. And it is, even by itself, a beautiful thing. The seed has so much magic in it. So not every seed that is planted will grow into a plant. Some of them don't go anywhere. Sometimes they don't have the right conditions. And sometimes you might plant something thinking it's one thing and it shows up as something else. So this seed idea is something we'll keep coming back to. So I'm gonna share some notes that I'm hoping to put into my guidebook, and they might be nice to read as we go along, or just to guide the workshop. So here we go. So we're going to explore moments in our day. We're going to explore the everyday as the potential source for making songs. So once again, to kind of come back to the whole purpose of this, we're not making a full big song. We're making the start of it. Just ideas that will generate more ideas, essentially. It's actually sharing. Let's see, it's sharing. I'm going to stop sharing and try again just to make sure. Okay. So here's our steps. We're going to look for our seed. We're going to do some writing about it. Then we're going to really find that one moment that'll capture it, that'll condense it. We're going to make some music with it. We're going to document what we made, and then we're going to leave it alone. So it's not with the purpose of making anything that's going to go on a stage or being showed to anybody else. It's just to get started. So I'm going to do a small demonstration, pretty condensed, knowing that when we do it together in a minute, it'll take some more time to dig into the ideas a little deeper and leave you time to do it yourself. So the first thing I'll do is think back on my day. This is going to be our exercise today. Think back on what's happened already today and find some moment that maybe it's the first moment that comes to you when you think of what happened to you today. It might not be the most happy thing or the most important, but it might be something that comes to you. So I'm thinking of when we were leaving the house this morning to get ready to go to our work and our daycare, and I have small kids. And there's always this, there can be like a bottleneck of tension as we try to get out the door, and snowsuits and timing and things. So I'm thinking of that moment. Now I'm gonna write in this little thing. You can kind of follow along with me for a minute. I will do it in the demo thing. I'm gonna write some ideas about that time. Just some words that come up. There's an emotion, frustration. My spelling's probably going to be all over the place. Frustration. Just make this so it's. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure this out. There we go. Some frustration, bottleneck. What were we actually doing? Snowsuits. And then trying to get out the door. I feel like something like our buttons were being pushed. I remember getting hotter, and that didn't help. And that didn't help. Now I'm going to dig a little. So that was kind of the moment, just condensing that moment. So this idea of the buttons, I like this idea of the buttons. For me, that's a bit of a metaphor, but it's a little too, for me, simplistic. So I'm going to actually dig into this idea a little bit more. So this button, it's so quick to push. See, where is this button? A button is usually a physical thing. So where is it? I'm going to actually try and think about where is it in my body, in my mind. So like if I think about the things that so quickly push my button are also the things that I love the most. So I'm like, okay, so the button is so close to my heart. Things that I love can so quickly become the things that press the button. What happens when they push that button so close to the heart? What does happen? It makes, this is a bit of a combination of stream of consciousness and just talking about it. Makes me hot, makes my skin hot, makes me crave the cold outside. That's a bit of an interesting one. This idea of like, because the things that love me so much, there are like, give me such warm feelings of joy and happiness, but all I want to do is like get outside. Okay, done. That's all I'm going to do. It's just a start. It's not the whole song, right? It's too much stuff. It's just ideas. So now what I do, so I've written all this stuff out. I found my moment that I want to look at. It's an everyday moment that happens to so many people. I'm going to look at what I wrote and see if I can find something. I'm going to carve it down to see if there's something in there that I like so much that I'm going to follow it on. So the things that I liked were this one, so close to that, maybe makes me crave the outside. So quick to push, so close to my heart. Okay, done. Okay, so I'm going to write those down again down here. So quick to push, so close to my heart. The buttons they press. Crave the cold outside. Okay, so there's my seed, done. I've gotten my seed, but it's almost too much. So I'm gonna do a bit of a moving around. So if I had to pick one word or one little phrase, it would be this one. Close to my heart. So it's not in my heart, it's close to my heart. That's kind of cool. Okay. So now I'm gonna do a little demo of now what do I do? How do I make this actual music? And the simplest thing that I'm gonna do is sing it on one note as if I'm talking. So the same way that we have rhythm when we talk, we are not metronomic like this, but we don't have all these really dramatic things like an opera singer. When we talk, we just talk. So if I'm just gonna say it, so quick to push, the buttons they press, so close to my heart, crave the cold outside. Doesn't make, it's not like, yeah, so there we go. I'm just gonna sing it. I'm gonna sing it on a note like this. So quick to push, the buttons they press, so close to my heart, crave the cold outside. Simple. It's just music, just rhythm on a note. We've added two of the things that we need for a musical melody. I'm gonna do it again. So quick to push, the buttons they press, so close to my heart, crave the cold outside. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna shift one note on those important words. So quick to push, the buttons they press, so close to my heart, crave the cold outside. So just by moving one note on those words, it brings them out in the ear. It highlights them. So I'm going to add some more space. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart, crave the cold outside. Yeah, the crave the cold outside. I'm not feeling that. I might just kill that one actually. What I'd actually do is repeat it. Okay, and now we'll do this later together, but I would take my phone, which has pictures of the things that press those buttons so easily, little children, and I would record it as a demo. And I would just leave it alone, shut her down, walk away, go have some coffee. So let's do that together. Okay, so here's your turn. You're going to look for your seed. Some people think that you can wait for inspiration to strike or that bird to land on your shoulder or just the perfect thing to show up and then it's perfect. I disagree. I think you can find these moments to look at and make into beauty, into things worth looking at and sharing at any time. And in fact, if you're stuck, this is a great way to become unstuck. Just use your day, and another exercise, we're going to just use things around us. We'll use other people's words. We'll look for those things. We'll be active about it. So I have here the idea of you're not waiting for lightning to strike. You're looking for those sparks, or in our case, seeds. So your task right now, in a minute, you'll pause, think back on your day, think back to a moment that could be ordinary, could be extraordinary. It's something that you just go back to in your mind. So start in your mind, then look around that thing. Find what might be beautiful. Find what's the core of what that moment was. We're going to look for ideas for lyrics in that moment. So I had some kind of thoughts there about how to phrase that. So pause the video now. We'll come back in a second. Do you have the moment? Okay. So now we write. So again, you'll pause in a moment, but what I want you to do, like you saw me doing, or in your own preferred way of kind of writing ideas, whether it's brainstorming, a paragraph, a story, I'd encourage you to open your descriptions, your words, to how all of your senses might feel, or just some of them. So how did that sound? How did it look? How did it smell? How did it feel physically? I'm missing one. The other one. Another sense to add is that kinetic motion. How did it feel in motion, in time, in space? Those are some great things. I encourage you to use everyday language, just like we're talking. If you love poetry and you love the richness of a language that can give kind of words that have great power and meaning, those are great. I encourage you to try and include those in a way that it can be part of an everyday kind of concourse between yourself and your listener. You don't need context of the thing, of the event. It can help you maybe to get to certain places if you put that context in, but you do need specifics. So I have a theory that the more specific you can get to something, the more universal it becomes. So it's not this line of you're really specific over here, you're talking universally about an idea over here, like love or something. Everyone has love. But if you can get into words and a really specific way of you experiencing or communicating or having love, that actually becomes universal because everyone has those specific ideas. So the more specific you can become, the more it allows other people's experiences to get kind of inserted into that when they hear it. The other thing I'd recommend, write more than you need. Write. So pause for at least a minute, 2 minutes, more if you need. Write down things that might sound cheesy or embarrassing or awkward. You need those things to lead you to what you actually are going to end up doing. So you are doing the opposite of what I call Michelangeloing, where you're putting on more and more ideas, more clay essentially, and then you're going to carve it away. So now is when you're building up that stock of ideas. So pause your video. Has it been a couple minutes? Very good. You have some things written down, whether it's typed or handwritten, doesn't matter. Okay, now we find the seed. So just when I looked back on my paragraph that I had jotted down ideas in, it took me a couple minutes. I had to like siphon things down. Can you find the smallest moment or idea or phrase? Maybe it's one word, maybe it's a little sentence, maybe it's a syllable within a word that really gets to the heart, gets to the core of that idea you're experimenting on. Try to find only one. If you need a couple, that's okay. So identify where that seed is. That is your seed of your song. That is it doesn't matter. You don't have to think about whether that's a chorus or a verse or whatever. That is just where things are going to start from. As you're writing down some ideas to try with some melody, which we'll do next, give your words some of that space if it needs it, and only can kind of add things to it or allow things to be around it if it has this clarity or something beautiful and engaging. This is our Michelangelo moment where we're taking away things that don't necessarily need to be said, just things that really get to that core and frame it. So take a couple minutes to do that. Pause. Are you back? You've paused, very good. Or if you're not pausing, now you just got to see my fingers waving. So now you have your paragraph, you have your idea, you have your moment, you have this seed of it. It could be something completely unrelated even to the actual memory. It could be just how you phrased part of a sentence that you thought was a really neat way to do it. So we're going to take what you had and you're going to do what I did. You're going to sing it as if you're just speaking it to me on one note. And then repeat it a few times. So try that now. Okay. Now I did this a bit late in my demonstration, but try it again and stretch it out. Add a little more space, maybe hold one note a little longer. Now you're starting to make it a little more musical, a little bit. Just touch it on. Try that. Okay, so now we've added a little space. We're starting to craft maybe it in time a little bit. Now that your one little special moment seed that you identified, even if it's within a bigger sentence, let's use that to shift a note maybe up, maybe down, just a little bit, just enough to kind of bring it out in the melody. For all you people who love melodies, I'll release you in a second to just do your thing, but try and just kind of constrain yourself to this little idea of it's just a seed, bring a little bit forward. Try it now. Bring it one note up, one note down, a little bit of a shift. Maybe it's a big jump. Okay. If you're only doing it once, I'd recommend repeating it a couple times. So that's something I'd suggest for each of these exercises. Then you start to hear it yourself as you repeat it. It becomes stronger with repetition. You might end up even repeating some of your little seed song idea like I did. Okay, so then there's other things you can do, adding more melodic ideas. We're just dealing with melody now. We don't care about chords yet. So take a couple minutes now that you've tried a few things and actually play with it. Make some more adventurous changes. So here we go. Play with your melody for a couple minutes just by itself. Just lots of experimenting up and down here and there. Here we go. Okay, good job. Now, if you can or if you want, here's some suggestions for adding another instrument. Once again, we're not making a big song. We're not making 10 verses. We don't care about where this song is in a bigger song, if it is a bigger song. But let's think about how do we add an instrument to just very simple idea melody. So I have one behind me. Let's see if you can see it. It is like a cool little organ thing. I don't actually know what it's called. It's an electric chord organ is what it's called. There we go. So I'm just going to play one note on here. I'm going to think back up to my my own little seed idea. And I'm just going to start essentially a drone or one note that's going to go underneath the whole thing. I might sing that same note. I might choose to sing a different note, but it's going to be just one long note underneath the whole thing. Here we go. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So there we go. I'm going to make it a bit quieter. There we go. I'm going to start up here, but I'll stick that there. It's a little different than that one, just for fun. So quick to push the buttons up. What was it? The buttons they press. There we go. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. Beautiful little melody music. There we go. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. A little bit of a variation. I'm going to try something. So it's the same note, just a little higher. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. I'm going to change the drone. I'm going to keep exactly what I sang. You can change, if you're kind of a keyboard player or understand some things about music theory, you can move up one or two steps, up or down, like a third or a fourth or a fifth. But any note you change as your drone will change how your melody sounds in a really simple way. It's the original. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. Now I'm going to try to move the drone at some point during my little phrase. I'm not sure where, I'll just try it. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. Pretty simple shift. Just some ideas of using one note, one drone, and then changing one thing. Then we get some development ideas. Okay, all done. That's my song. I've got a little melody, got a little bit of an idea of maybe a bass line or chords or whatever those end up being. Now, done. We document. I'm going to record it. Just what I did, without even trying to think of it longer. I'm planting my seed. Here we go. So quick to push the buttons they press, so close to my heart. Boom. 18 seconds. I'm done. I walk away, turn off my phone, drink my coffee, my sweet music mug, and then I'm done. Okay, documentation. There we go. Maybe you've written it down somewhere. Maybe you've written down notes with music or ideas of notes like letter names or things like that. Or if it's just plain words, or if it's just the voice memo, that's all you've got. Some way to capture it, document it, so you can let it go and then come back to it later. There we go. We leave it. So remember, it's not a finished song. It's the start of what could be. And as you do this more and more, you might get faster at some days. It might be hard some days, but you're building up all of these seed ideas. And sometimes you might find 1, 2, 3 that connect. Other times, one of them will be the start of a song. But maybe that seed never actually ends up in the actual song. Maybe it just led you to that thing. But this is the quick way just to get those things out, realize that there's those moments in our everyday that can bring us to those places. So thank you for listening to my first little pilot. We're going to do this 2 more times. So there'll be 2 other videos you can check out that go through different exercises within this kind of same structure of just quick ideas, other ways you can look for different things you can be aware of in the course of your everyday. Okay, thank you.